Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about something that I think a lot of people are waking up to, especially those who identify as highly sensitive person or deeply empathetic or emotionally intuitive. So this video is about the empath programming, what it really is, where it comes from, how it impacts your life, and why you were never meant to stay stuck in that programming forever. There's a lot of romanticism about just about being an empath in general, but what most people don't realize is that for so many, it's not a personality trait, it's a nervous system response. It's a learned adaptation that's rooted in survival. So let's get into it. So what is the empath programming? Empath programming is a form of conditioning that develops when you're exposed to emotionally chaotic, unpredictable, or unsafe environments early in your life. Most often this happens in childhood, and most often through caregivers, parents. When your parents or caregivers are emotionally volatile, neglectful, or inconsistent, you as a child quickly learn that the best way to feel any sense of safety is to become highly attuned to the emotions and needs of others. This is not something that you consciously choose. It's something that your nervous system becomes wired for in order to survive. You end up becoming hyper aware, hyper vigilant, and hyper responsible for others. You monitor other people's moods and anticipate emotional shifts. You become skilled at absorbing and even regulating other people's pain, which is often done at the expense of your own needs. And that's what we call empath programming. It's a way of being that centers others so deeply into your own experience that you lose connection to yourself and you become the supporting character of your own life. So how does this affect you over time? Well, at first it might even feel like a superpower. You're the go-to for emotional support. You're the one that people vent to. And you pride yourself on how deeply you can feel and understand others. I get it. I've been there because I was the coach for everybody. But over time, this way of living becomes draining and completely unsustainable. You don't know how to advocate for your own needs because they were never prioritized. And quite frankly, you don't even know what your needs are. You don't know how to ask for help because receiving feels foreign, even threatening. You have a complicated relationship with anger. You either repress it completely or you feel so deeply uncomfortable when it arises in others or yourself. That's because growing up, anger was either unsafe or seen as bad or shameful, and you've seen it be used in violent ways. But believe it or not, anger is your protector and it's the deepest love that you have for yourself. It may sound really odd to hear that because for me it was as well, but being angry, having anger is healthy. Anger is how we set boundaries. It's our ability to say no. It's how we advocate for ourselves when we're being mistreated. Without anger, we're so privy to abuse, and we actually end up feeling over time that we deserve that sort of treatment. As you get older, these patterns don't just go away, they compound. You might start feeling physically exhausted all the time. You may develop chronic pain. I had it in my back, and that's how I came to this journey. And that was at 30. You can develop inflammation, autoimmune symptoms, because your body has become this unprocessed container for unprocessed emotional weight, most of which doesn't belong to you, and you're carrying energy of things that you need to process and everyone else's, and your body's at a breaking point, and you eventually feel disconnected from your joy, creativity, even intimacy. You may feel like no matter how much you give, no one truly gives back to you in the same way. This is what happens when you live from the empath programming for too long. You begin to lose your sense of self, and you become so resentful and jaded and just disheartened by the human condition. And you end up tapping into victimhood, like you are trained to be a victim. And it quite literally, subtly but fully overtakes you into victimhood mode because you're so used to overgiving that often you attract people who are more than willing to take from you. This creates relationships that are built on imbalance, where you're doing the emotional heavy lifting and you're getting close to nothing in return. And now you're trying to prove yourself to get someone to give back to you. You may struggle to feel seen, supported, or understood because you've never actually learned how to receive from anybody. It leads to resentment, to burnout, eventually to hopelessness. You feel like life is happening to you, but what's actually happening is that the way your system has been wired in childhood is still running your adult life. You don't know how to reclaim your energy because no one ever taught you how to have a relationship with yourself. This all may seem dire, but let me tell you, there is some good news, okay? This is programming, and with programming, you can rewire the programming. It's not permanent. It's learned, and anything that has been learned, you can easily unlearn. And I'm gonna give you the steps. So the first step is recognizing that being an empath doesn't define you, and stop calling yourself one. It's not your core identity. It's a pattern that develops in response to your environment, which means you have to reprogram rather. When you begin to center your energy inward and turn it in on yourself to bring your attention back into your own experience, you start honoring your anger as a protective force, not a shameful one. You'll learn to meet your own needs and advocate for yourself and develop boundaries that are clear and loving. You start to reclaim the power that was never lost. It was just dispersed in so many different directions, into so many people. And that's when things begin to shift. You stop leaking energy. You stop trying to rescue everybody, especially those who don't want to be saved. You stop betraying your body's truth to be palatable or accepted. And you stop identifying yourself as the caretaker or as the fixer of everybody. You start creating real connection because it's finally rooted in something real. Your relationship with you, not your relationship in how well you can coach or caretake others. And you start to reevaluate how you want to show up in relation to others. So what does it look like on the other side of the empath programming? Well, you start to develop individuation, which is the process of becoming your own person, rather than an emotional extension of everybody else. You begin to have a stable inner foundation. You stop living in reaction to other people's energy. You learn how to discern what's yours and what's not. And you start living a life that actually reflects you, your values, your truth, your joy. Your nervous system starts becoming your own and it doesn't react to other people's reactions. And in that, you finally feel free. I also believe that when you start to have a sense of self and become your own individual sovereign person, and when you're clear on your energy, what's yours and what's someone else's, you will fight so hard to protect your energy that your anger will come online. And then you'll start to have boundaries and you'll understand when your boundaries are being crossed or violated. And then you'll be able to protect yourself. You'll use that energy to protect what you now know is worth protecting. You can't really protect what you don't know is worth protecting. So that's why we have to build that sense of self. So if you've been living in that empath pattern, if you're tired and resentful and overextended and not feeling fulfilled, just know that there's a reason, but there's also a way out. It's not a life sentence. To support this process, I ended up creating an individuation workbook called My Body, My Altar, and it's designed to help you build that connection with yourself, to learn how to start turning your energy inward and start reclaiming your identity from the inside out. It's designed to take that burden off of the nervous system and gently start getting curious about yourself, learning about yourself, enjoying yourself, understanding your own energy. And if you're interested in receiving that workbook, I can just send it via PDF. Just leave a comment below and we will connect. I don't have it up on the link right now because my website's not working. I apologize for that. And also, if this video has brought you any clarity, please leave a comment on what was eye-opening for you. And let me know, what part of your life you're ready to stop abandoning yourself in. Feel free to share this video with anybody that you feel would benefit from this information. And as usual, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.